Welcome to the MenTalk Ubuntu podcast. Our guest this episode is an active advocate for change towards perceptions of mental health, committed to encouraging people to share more of their lived experiences and their own mental health journeys. He is a mental health nurse, a mental health advocate, and a man who cares for everybody. You can find him on social media and share your story. Please welcome Denzel. It's a pleasure to have you here. Please tell us about your story and journey.
Thank you. Thank you, Shai. Hello, Ray, too. So with my journey, where could I start? Let's start from the beginning. So I'm from London. I know you guys are from Manny, aren't you? So I'm from London, grew up in West London from Fulham, and I was just a regular guy, wanted to play football, play for Arsenal, and so forth. And I went through school, and then I started off doing sports science. Do you guys do sports science? So I did some sports science, and then what I did after that is I kind of got kicked out. Have you lot been in university before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still there.
You're still there. So I'll tell you this little story, right? So I was in university, and it relates to what I want to talk about, and this is why I want to bring this up. So when I was in university, I was doing sports science, and then I got kicked out, right? So I got kicked out of university, and if anybody's got an African mum, anybody got African mum here?
Yeah. All day long.
Ray,
Yeah.
Ray, is
All
your
day
mother
long.
African?
Of course. Come on, Charlie.
Yeah. It wasn't easy for me, you know what I mean? Like she stopped talking to me for a little while, and I wasn't doing very much. I was doing odd jobs. And actually, that was kind of like um 2012. And this was a period where things got a bit more difficult for me. I will talk about it later on because I know we can talk about uh, my mental health and the advocacy, but that's where things started to go wrong. And then when I tell my story, I have to stop at 2012 because 2012 was the period where I first, after being kicked out of university, my life just dipped. And as you can tell, I was very happy and exuberant. But then when it gets to that part, it's quite difficult, because that was the time when I first heard that, dude, you're depressed. I mean, I said me, a whole me, Denzel, depressed. Like it was crazy. I didn't understand what was going on. So I went through periods where I was just coping, dealing with it. And I'll talk about that more in detail later. But yeah, after that, 2013, I decided that, okay, I want to do something. I want to help people. So I started the journey of being a mental health nurse. So I qualified in 2016 as a mental health nurse, and I've been working since 2016 in various different roles. So the kind of roles that I've worked in are places like, so hospital wards. Have you not heard of hospital wards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's hospital wards. I've worked in the community, I've worked in education, and now I'm working in a crisis team. So really, that's my story in a nutshell. I would love to talk about it in more detail in the different sections, but I just wanted to talk you through sort of, I guess, from when I was a young child to now. And yeah, like I said, I've been a mental health nurse for about 4.5 years now. And yeah, from 2012, I'm not joking, you guys. I said, anyone who knew me in 2012, I was saying I would want to do mental health advocacy. But I was scared because what does this black boy know about mental health? What's mental health? You know what I mean? So, and I was quite popular, you know. I hope nobody comes and, you know, baits me out or anything, but, you know, with the ladies as well, I'm not too bad, you understand? So I was thinking, why would I want to talk about mental health? I could lose women, you know what I mean? I wasn't really into it, but this year's been great, you know what I mean? Because after a very difficult 2020, like all of us have had, I found my voice this year, and something I've wanted to do for 8 years, I'm doing it now. So yeah, I'll leave it like that for now, and then when you have more questions, I'll be excited to talk about it.
Amazing, amazing, truly, truly amazing. When you just said that, you've got onto this journey of advocacy and you're finally doing what you're doing. It's just so amazing. I could just feel this sensation go through my body. It's amazing to obviously hear your journey from the transition. I, I was going to ask, so from 2012, about what, 9 years ago, roughly. Um, how was your depression, identified, and who brought it to your attention? And from there, what most probably the listeners want to know when we obviously go through, because that is a very, very important, significant time, especially for you during that time, is also to kind of find out what helped you kind of, re-strategize and support you through that transition, because depression is not an easy thing, let's be honest. So, you know,
Wow, it's a loaded question. And I talk about it a lot on my Instagram page. And I talk about 2012 being the first time I heard about it. So what happened was I was, it's not easy to talk about, but as you do it more often, like it gets better. But I think, so like I told you guys, I was in university. I went there when I was 18. So if you do quick maths, you can tell my age. You know?
no
Yeah.
comment.
So basically, so I was 18. Everybody's happy. You're going to university. My mum, and you know, the funny thing is, so I went to university I went to Roehampton University 2010, right? And what happened in 2012, guys?
Ooh,
The
I've
Olympics,
slept.
right?
okay.
Oh yeah,
Oh
oh
yeah,
yeah,
you were
Stratford
studying sports.
Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah. So my mum's, you know how Africans are, they're thinking like, this sports science, I'm not sure, but you know, oh, there's Olympics. So my son will be working with Usain Bolt and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like they don't even know what sports science is, but they put it in their mind to tell your aunties that, oh, he's doing a good course, you know, all that stuff. Yeah. So then when I got to 2012 and I got kicked out, I disappointed my mum basically because she couldn't, when she spoke to her friends, there was nothing to say. I mean, she had nothing to say. So it was tough. And then I remember I was sort of drinking a lot. I was working in a cinema, um, very crap money, but so I was always drinking, I was gambling. And then one of my friends just was like, are you all right? Because you go out all the time, you're always at the bookies. And that was the first time I kind of thought maybe things aren't so good. Then I wasn't feeling good. So then I said, let me just go to the GP to get something. Do you know what I mean? So I went to the GP, and then I told them, obviously, I'm feeling a certain type of way. And it was, do your blood pressure. Like, what do you mean you're feeling low? What do you mean you're feeling sad? Like, what does that mean? And then I was telling them, like, I don't know, like, you know, I can't do things without drinking. I can't do things without X, Y, and Z. And then it's so interesting because the first thing they do is they say, okay, so you've got a drug problem. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Do you know what I mean? I didn't say that. Or is something going on at home? Or, do you know what I mean? Then it's like, no, I'm just feeling low. I'm feeling sad. And then you feel dismissed. So I speak about it quite often in clubhouse chats and whatnot. And the struggle for validation. So you don't look like the depressed person because you're black. At that time, I didn't have a beard though. I won't lie to you. I didn't have a beard at that time. But
Looking young and
you
fresh,
know,
yeah?
my phone is popping. Sorry.
Too young to grow a beard then.
Yeah, them time I was too young. Yeah. But yeah, I obviously didn't fit it. And even like in our community, like in the black community, depression is like a white thing, you know? It's like, what are you sad about? Like, so if I'm being honest with you, because of that experience, I just left that GP surgery and then I went back to gambling, back to drinking, back to women, back to everything. Then I remember in 2013, when I started the nursing course, I went to my lecturer and I was like, dude, this is my situation. Like, I'm just sometimes sad. Then he was like, go to your GP. So this was the first time I had a proper discussion about mental health. And again, dismissed. It was like, oh, but you play football, you're all right. You know, your heart rate is good, your blood pressure is good. Like, just go have a run. You know what I mean? And I felt so disrespected, and I was just vexed. You know what I mean? I was so angry. I said to myself, "What's the point of coming here if you're just gonna tell me that to go and have a run, to go and jog?" So I went out, and yeah. But Shai, what do you think? What do you think about what I said there? Because yeah, what do you think about
Yeah, no, I can relate to that. Obviously, also being in that university situation, or I've done my undergrad and all that, where it sounds to me like you had a fairly clear vision for yourself. You were active, you were well liked, you were popular. You kind of knew what you wanted to study, which was related to your interests. Everyone's proud of you, and it's like, oh, you've just started this new chapter. You're gonna graduate. The world's gonna be your oyster. You'd have been involved with the Olympics, and then it's all gone. And it feels like after that point where that, for me, what really hit home for me there is when you say initially your mom is, let's say, being super proud, is going to work with Usain Bolt, so you're the talk of the town almost. And that feeling of after that, there's nothing being said about you. I can imagine how that hurt. And I can imagine that pushing you to the drink, that pushing you to the gambling in the sense of maybe I'll get a win, and all the other things perhaps that you were hoping for can come through that. Like, I might not get it through uni. And yeah, I think it's hard to understand someone being depressed if they're not just staying in bed all day, if they're able to function, is what I feel like. Like, I think we're going to post it at some point on our Instagram. There's a poem by Dunbar, which is talking about we wear the mask. I think like a lot of us put on this brave face and we all wear this mask, every day. That's what personality is about. So if you know, or if you're known as this popular guy, then it's easy to act that because you've been like that your whole life. When you reach this new phase where you're feeling depressed or you're feeling like I'm not happy, and it takes one friend to reach out and say, are you all right? And you get referred to the GP and they're telling you to basically do fitness. But even in the midst of all that, you still choose to look beyond yourself, which I feel like it's something that a lot of our guests, a few of our guests have touched on. They tend to stop focusing on themselves and move on to try and actually help other people. And that seems to work really well. Because I want to know how, obviously, the passion for sport, because you're in sports science and you're trying to get an understanding of that, shifts, and you have a year or two figuring stuff out, and you channel that now into the mental health nursing route and becoming a mental health advocate. How do you go from, I want to say, being isolated when you're depressed to being a voice for other people? Like, what was that turning point? This is a huge turning point in your life, and a lot of people are experiencing it. But for you, what was the turning point from I'm in a bad place to I want to help other people get out of a bad place? That's what I'd like to know from what you've described so far.
It's easier to look after people and not look after yourself. It's as simple as that, because I knew I had a flair to help people. I could tell that I enjoyed looking after. I'm the eldest of 5. I enjoyed looking after them, so I knew that I'm kind of good at that. So how it really changed was I think with sports science, I didn't. I just had to go to uni, and I was good at sport. So sports science, I had no really real interest in it. You know, I played football like most of my life. Still play a little bit here and there, but I didn't really like the course, if I'm being honest. So, and when I'm thinking about like the depressive symptoms, it's probably been there for a long time, but I just didn't know because I was just on the go. I was just doing stuff. But I'll tell you what happened. When I was working in the cinema, I was working in View Cinema in Fulham, and then they did a scheme with autistic kids, right? And I thought, let me just do this scheme so I don't have to work as hard. Like I thought, let me just do it. It's gonna be easy. Like it's gonna be calm. Like so that's what I did. And I went there, and then what we did, yeah, we had a cinema screen, and then it was just like autistic kid can just run around, do whatever they want. Yeah. And I used to just let them do it. And then one time, one mom and dad wrote a feedback form and sent it to the CEO of View. So then I was like, swear down, man got CEO of View, you know, I got an award and stuff like that. So I was really happy. And then they were like, I think you should do nursing. So I was like, nah, because my mum's a nurse as well. So I wasn't trying to do none of that. I was like, nah, bun that, dead that. I'm not really trying to do none of that. Like that's dead. And then because me and my mum wasn't talking, she kind of said, like we wasn't talking really, but she mentioned it, and then I thought, well, maybe we'll talk again. So I just kind of did it. So my mum helped me out a lot. And then even when I went to the interviews, I apologize to any nurses who listen to this. I really couldn't give two shits whether I got it or not. I really didn't care. I literally went there, said whatever I have to say, and then they gave me the place. I said, swear down, you lot gave me the place, a whole me. I said, okay, fine. And it was, I'll tell you what, when I did my first placement in an acute ward, and I saw somebody with schizophrenia, I said to myself, wow, this is mental illness. And then I was talking to him calmly. We bust joke, we're playing pool, table tennis. Then I thought, this job's all right, you know? So that, and then over the years, I just developed, build my skill. And then I had my own mental health stuff that I went through that helped me. So my job helps my mental health and my mental health helps my job. So it works hand in hand, but that's kind of how it went. So yeah, that's that question.
If you don't mind, like I'm just here, just you know, taking in everything you're saying. And when you talk about, yeah, actually, even before I go into it, I was going to ask. So you know, the first time you actually went to the GP, the first time, and also your lecturer talking about your mental health. I have curiosity, what race were they?
What, my lecturer?
Yeah, your lecturer and also the GP you went to.
So the first GP that I went to, that was just like you know when you have a general appointment and
Yeah.
then you mention something, but they were both white anyway. The GPs were
Okay.
both white.
Okay.
Actually, no, sorry, no. The second one wasn't white. He was like Arab, Iraqi, or Iran, or something like that.
Okay. All right. No,
And
the only
then
no,
go
go
for
on.
it. My lecturer was like Asian background, like Indian, something like that.
Okay. And they basically referred you to a doctor again after that, did they? Or did they have a deep conversation with you to try and understand what the actual, you know, mental health pressure points were?
No. So my lecturer just said, go talk to a doctor or something. And then when I went to speak to the doctor, I didn't get anything back. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So it was very much like, oh, you're fine, take your blood pressure, like there's nothing wrong with you. So then I just kind of went back to uni, and then he was like, did you see the doctor? And I was like, yeah, everything's fine. And then I, like Shai was saying, I had the mask for years. And I'll be honest with you, Ray and Shai, I only really 100% accepted the depression in 2020 because everybody else around me told me, you're just feeling low, you're just feeling sad, it will pass, things are fine. But I get that things will pass, but this is an illness like diabetes, you know? This is not a it's like if you had an alcohol problem, right? And you abstain for 50 years, you're still an alcoholic. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean because you stop drinking that you don't have an alcohol problem. You have an alcohol problem, but you're abstaining at the moment. And this is the same with depression. I had it first identified 2012, then 2013 again, then maybe say 2015, I started feeling a type of way. Then I started going to church for a bit, but then it was good. Church was good. I'm not going to knock the church. It was good for me at a point, and then I left there. And then I'd say 2016, I had a really bad time with depression. And then 2018 and then 2020. So you probably noticed there's quite a few intervals, like sort of year, 2 year. It's because that's as long as I can keep the mask on for. And then it kind of just goes downhill. So yeah. Did you have any other questions on that one?
Oh, trust me, we got loads. I'm sure. Wow.
What happened to Ray? Where's he gone?
He'll be back. I think he might have just dipped real quick. What were some of the best, shall we say, tools or strategies or support that helped you through that, or through navigating those different times, or even now, what's in case, let's say, someone who's feeling the same way at the moment and they're trying to find their way out of it, the mask has just crumbled. What are some of the things that have helped you that might work for someone, or that they could try, or where they could go to find them?
Do you know what, Sha? I have to be so real here and say that sometimes I felt like unless I did something stupid, I wasn't going to be seen, you know? So I often struggled with the thing of I need to do something big so that they listen to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one of the things I did was I have a couple good friends who know about everything, and I used to just meet up with them and just talk to them. But they were just one or two people. Um, I tried to play football. I think the main thing is try and find things you like doing. So I'm somebody who will fight for my mental health. So I tried different things. I tried football, church, you know, going for walks. Do you know what I mean? I tried everything that they tell you to do. Do you know what I mean? And you find the one that works. Like one that I've found recently is running. I'm not saying that people should run, but in fact, I'm telling you, you should run. In fact, you should run. Do you know what I mean? Because I realized that sometimes the pain that I'm in, I might try and mask it with I don't drink that much, by the way, guys. I'm not an alcoholic or anything, but like you might try and like, I'm not a self-harmer, but you might try and get pain in certain ways. And I found that running's hard. And then if you're running and you feel the pain, it kind of mirrors the pain that you're feeling within yourself. But then some people punch stuff. I run now anyway. And then when I'm running, I'm just focused on my goal. Sometimes I have music, sometimes I don't. And I'm just in my own world. I don't have to think about anything. I just run. And it's therapy. I just run. But the main thing I'll tell people, find what you like doing and do it. I know that sounds very like basic, but literally do what you like doing. Problem is, when you're depressed, you don't want to do any of that. So I learned in CBT that so you get a list of activities, right? And then you prioritize them, you rank them. So for example, like taking a shower, right? That's like a necessity, kind of, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Would you agree, Ray, is a necessity, yeah? Like, it's a necessity. So
I hope
I
so.
would prioritize. What was that?
No, definitely.
Yeah, so it's a priority. So I would say I need to prioritize showering, whereas going for a shop, like food shopping, I'd probably say that it's like it's like a medium thing. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know, you could like get a takeaway or something, and then another one would be like to apply for a job. So then what you do, you list all the stuff that you like doing or that you have to do, and then you kind of pick the easier ones first so that you don't condemn yourself. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
that make sense, guys?
100%.
So like, for example, when I'm really depressed, even though I love football, it's difficult for me to do. Do you see what I mean? But something like going to the cinema isn't hard for me to do. So I would do something like that. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, so you sort of have this list of things you like to do and some things you have to do, and you just sort of always make sure that you're working towards some of them, or whenever you're feeling in a certain mood, you go for some. And you've got, like you mentioned before, this support network with some of your friends where you're talking out how you're feeling and everything. So I'm sure they can flag things back at you, or notice if you've not been doing football or anything for yourself, or even for most of us, what we could see is if someone isn't showering or taking care of themselves, because you tend not to want to take care of yourself, I guess, if you're not feeling great.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's mad because when I'm depressed, showering isn't easy for me. So I have a whole me, I'm not disgusting. Please, I showered this morning, yeah. But you know, like when I'm depressed, I won't shower. I can go 10 days without showering. I know that might sound mad, but to me, I don't even see the days. Like I just go 10 days without showering. I won't eat. So eating, showering, all of that is really tough for me when I'm depressed. But going on a walk isn't tough for me. That's easy for me. Do you see what I mean? So I have a list of stuff that I know that I can do when I'm depressed. So like when I'm depressed, walking's easy for me. Running is hard for me. What else would I say is easy for me? Watching TV, you know, them ones there. I can watch TV all the time when I'm depressed. Listening to music, I can do that all the time. But yeah, that's some of the tips that I've got anyway. Some of the tips.
Excellent, excellent, and it feeds into what I was actually going to ask, because there's a reason why I asked you, you know, what races they are and things like that, because one, you telling your whole journey, like, you know, all I'm seeing is that it's that thing of who you are today is who you needed when you were younger. When you went out to look for that support, you know, through specialists, doctors, things like that, and because of your you know, it could be the fact that it's a microaggression because you're black and things like that, you look well, you can't see mental health. And as a specialist, I think systematically it's always been the case that, you know, when it comes to health and things like that, a lot of the times the consultants of a long time ago, that it was obviously, you know, they were white and they didn't really understand black people per se, so they didn't know how to, you know, medicate advice and, you know, guide them through the whole process of it. You know, I could be wrong, but, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. And at the same time, it's that thing of like, you've been a hero to yourself to kind of go through that place where you've hit rock bottom. It's been a blessing in disguise. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. And what you're telling me is also forced you to kind of, you know, think differently, creative, outside the box. So, you know, whether it's the priority lists, that's kind of making you come out of that. So you've got these mechanisms to kind of take you out of that depression of autopilot, if that makes sense. And how it's all linked and feeding in is that systematically, you know, that help wasn't there for you, and you're most probably not the only black person who seeks for that help, and you wasn't given the right attention, medication. Whereas now, you know, you're an advocate in terms of mental health, and you are helping people, and at the same time, by the sounds of it, you also love what you do because it medicates you as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
let me know if if, you know, I'm reading it incorrectly.
I think, yeah, I mean, so just to repeat what you're saying, you're kind of asking me about being black and getting support, kind of,
Yeah,
yeah?
yeah,
Yeah, let's not beat around the bush. We don't get help. Black people don't get help. That's what we don't get help because our face doesn't fit some of the diagnosis. Black people are far more, you're more likely to get sectioned as a black person, right? So when I walk into the room, probably thinking, oh, schizophrenia maybe. Do you know what I mean? If we talk about mental health, it's schizophrenia, or criminal justice system is something along them lines. So when it comes to depression and anxiety and other stuff, our face is not represented. So if you and I have depression, who have they seen in their vast years of experience who looks anything like us? And the reality is we have a huge stigma in our community, so we don't even access the help anyway, because we don't want to give people an inch. We've been oppressed enough, and we don't want to give people any inch of weakness. There is no weakness in mental health. However, we are oppressed, and we don't want to give anybody an inch. You know how it is. Like if you are a sprinter, you don't want anybody to know your chinks in your armor. And I guess that's probably why people don't access services. But honestly, I think it's slowly changing. That's what I'm here for. That's what you guys are here for, to
Definitely.
raise awareness and tell our brothers and sisters, look, let's talk about it, because everybody goes through stuff. But yeah, I get passionate about this because it does annoy me. I can't lie to you. It annoys me the way that I was treated. Um, I did feel like if I was a white person, they would have treated me differently. I can't lie to you. I feel like they would have taken me more seriously. I feel like they would have heard me or see me. And I just didn't feel validated. And I think obviously we're men, and also we're black and we're young. And young black men are supposed to be robbing cars, and if you're
And being
Jamaican,
yeah.
getting loads of baby mamas. You know what I mean? So, boy, being depressed is not what we do. You know what I mean? So, why are you coming and wasting my time? That's what I felt like. I felt like I was wasting their time. So, yeah, man.
I
Yeah, that's what
really,
I'd say, bro.
yeah. Um, Thanks for sharing as well, with everything that you are. I really like the way that you frame that, in the sense like we feel like you're a sprinter. We have this image of ourselves, like this really powerful image, masculine image, and we keep moving. Just like you're talking about going through all these experiences up until 2012 onwards, especially. And at no point are you saying that you stopped moving. You kept moving. Even if it was from uni into working in the cinema, you kept moving. Even if it's at the cinema and you're like, oh, you know what? If I volunteer with this autism, working with children who have autism, actually I could do less. So you're sort of trying to run away from more work because it's weighing you down. You're drinking, you're gambling, but you're still moving. And you move into working with people as a mental health nurse. It's sort of away from working on yourself. Like you say, it's easier to help other people, and you keep moving and still seeking. But that idea of I've got to look invulnerable or indestructible, you forget that an Olympic level sprinter will have a team that's helping maintain their performance. And I guess the mistake most of us will make, guilty as charged, by the way, is you try and run by yourself, even to the point of, you know what, even if everything else goes wrong, I'll figure it out. But I'll keep moving by myself. I don't need to tell everybody all this stuff. And that's one of the dangers with some of these mental health issues people face, is we want to carry it alone or run it alone, whereas we don't see the value, or we don't know how to articulate it sometimes. If you're a happy guy by nature and you turn up to your GP, you've never had any health issues, this is the first time they're seeing you, and you say to them, I'm feeling a bit down, you might not be articulating it in the way that would let them know this person is depressed. You might say, I'm having a bit more of a drink, but not break down how much your drinking is affecting you, or how everyone else is noticing what's going on with you, or explain what's going on in work, because you again feel this is weak. I can't be saying all this. So perhaps there's something there with how people can learn the best ways to articulate what they're going through, and to do so. Now that you're sort of working in the industry, have you seen a difference, or I feel like maybe we're gonna lead some people to fake sick notes or something. Like, maybe I shouldn't ask this particular one. But if you know what I mean, like
Hey, I
if
want to work in the morning, you know.
yeah, but not without giving people like say this and you get a sick note. Is there some advice you would perhaps share now that you work in the field with how people can perhaps better articulate the experience that they're having with mental health so that they might get the proper help?
Do you know what it is? Like, it's a tough question. Do you know why? Because in my head, I'm thinking, you need to do media training. Do you know what I mean? You need to be smart about your answer. But what I would say is the people who get seen or get heard are the ones who bark the loudest. That's just what it is, really. You know, like, you know how it is. You know how it is when you're in school or something. The kids that made most noise got the most attention. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that our clients are children in any way, shape, or form. I just think that you have 8 minutes at a GP, yeah, something like that. 8 minutes. You basically need to fight for your mental health. And what I mean by fight is you need to tell them exactly how you're feeling and with conviction. Because I'm a nurse, if you don't, I can only go on what you tell me. So if you are saying to me, Shy, you are feeling low, I mean, 1 minute's gone already, bro. You know what I mean? So what's happening, you know? And then you tell me, oh, I haven't been sleeping. Already you said I haven't been sleeping. Okay, sleeping tablet. Do you know what I mean? That's my mind. And then you'll say, oh, I've been drinking. Okay, drug and alcohol referral. We ain't even got to you feeling suicidal. Nowhere near, because you haven't said it. And I've got 6 more minutes now, you know? So you kind of, and then also the GP is asking you questions as well. So your talking time is probably 3 minutes, maybe, maybe 3 minutes if you're lucky. So you have to dominate the conversation. I think I'm allowed to say that. It has to be your story and not the story that the GP has for you, because GP's job is to diagnose this situation as quick as possible. And if you're not giving them enough, then it's going to be a problem. So really what you need to do is get to a point where they say, this is outside my expertise. I need to refer you to a mental health team, because GPs have very limited knowledge on mental health. They have a broad knowledge, like a basic knowledge. They're like a jack of all trades, master of none. That's what they are. So you need to get to a stage where but you know what else will help, Shy? If you watch things like this, you know, MenTalk Ubuntu or my page, you will know what to do. So you can literally go to your surgery and say, look, I need support with my mental health. Can you make a referral to the mental health team? So we have mental health teams in each area of England, like a single point of access. I can talk about it more. I don't want to talk, actually, I won't talk about it there, because I'll talk about it on my page or whatever, unless you want me to. But very briefly, a single point of access is your primary care for mental health. So you go to a GP, they feel like your problem is too complex for them. So then you get a full assessment by a guys called single point of access, or in other places they're called just primary care mental health services. So they will see you, book an appointment, and do a full assessment on your mental state. And then when they do an assessment on your mental state, that will take about 1 hour. And then after they do that, they make a plan whether you need to start medication or be seen by the home treatment team. Maybe you need to go into hospital, or maybe you just need counseling, or maybe you just needed someone to listen to you for the first time, and then you can go back to your GP. So I don't want people to think that, oh my God, I'm going to the GP, they're gonna lock the key up. It doesn't work like that. It's very hard to get sectioned, by the way. That's another thing I would say.
I
So
was I was going to ask. I mean, those are very good, practical avenues to obviously go down. And I think it goes back to the thing that you mentioned previously about within the Black community, us having stigmas to talk about mental health, which we're starting to kind of deconstruct, and it's helping us like one mind at a time, where we're breaking the stigma that's associated with mental health, which is insanity and schizophrenia and things like that. If you go back home, that's what they kind of associate, whereas here it's obviously not that. Now, when I get into the nitty gritty, what I'm trying to get at, because I know there's people that are not going to be so forthcoming because they don't have a relationship with their GP practice and things like that. And they most probably have friends that they can, have a laugh with, but not have these deep conversation with. In situations like that, or it could be the case that they've been through the same process you've been through, where they've gone to the medical, people, and they've, said that, oh, you're okay, don't worry, get on with it, kind of thing. So to those listeners out there that are still finding it hard to kind of know what to do to seek or speak to, what would you advise to those minds?
I think look at your social network and look at somebody that you trust. Just look at somebody you can trust, and then just begin a conversation. And that's what I can say. Begin a conversation. And it's tough because the person you trust may not be able to help you, but you're helping yourself. Because I have a belief that there's healing in speaking, right? So things kept within us that don't help. You need to talk about your feelings. You need to talk about what's going on, but you need to do it in a safe space. So, like I said, I had a friend, um, I'll say his name. I had a friend called Zain, and Zain was somebody who's very laid back, very chilled guy. But I knew I could talk to him anytime. I'll be like, bro, I'm going through stuff. Like, bro, I feel like I don't know, like I can't. I just don't know how to make sense of how I'm feeling. And Zayn just listened to me. I didn't need him to say anything. I just needed him to listen to me. So I'd think for the first thing, let's make it basic. Just find someone you trust and talk to them. It might not work, but that's the first step. And I think it's a scary step, but it has to be the first step. I think I don't want to overcomplicate it. Find somebody you trust and talk to them. I think that's so important to do that. And obviously, if you feel comfortable enough to go to see your GP, do that as well. But take baby steps, because it is very difficult to do that. And you know what else I would say? Sometimes talking to a stranger is actually helpful as well. Um, but you know why I say it's helpful sometimes? Because there's no accountability. I mean, I'm not saying go to the bus stop and start talking to somebody, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know, how do people meet these days? That sometimes speaking to a stranger can help, but or speak to you guys. Do you know what I mean? Speak or read stuff online about mental health and support and stuff like that. But just talk to someone you trust at the start.
No, thank
Yeah.
you. I think you're so right, because even speaking to a stranger, one, you don't have that relationship with them. Two, it's a it's a safe environment because it's not judgmental, which is, you know, a really big thing when you kind of outlay your emotions and things like that. Whereas what you don't want is someone to use that against you. And I think that's another fear within men where you think if you outlay those things, one stage or another, someone will use that against you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I'll be lying if I told you that I haven't felt that people have used it against me, but they're not around anymore. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter. Um, and I'm shining, so you know what I mean? I don't care. You know what I mean? This is what it is. Um, but yeah, no, this is a journey, you know. If you have depression or anxiety or PTSD, it's a journey. And we we are behind. Like I find that we're behind the Americans in the UK. Um, do you guys agree? Like they just talk about it way more often than whereas with us,
It's suppressed.
yeah, we don't talk about it. Like even thinking about like our figureheads, which prominent black person has even spoke about mental health in the media? I can't really think of many.
There are a few, I
But the
think
Americans have
it's,
got all their rappers
mm,
talking, you know?
yeah, I think there's been a few actors and perhaps former athletes and stuff here, but the numbers are very different, I suppose, when we go to the US, and even with things like the shootings that they sometimes have and that sort of thing. So I think it's much more in the air.
Vocal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone, they sort of have to speak about these things because they've been covered. They publicize sort of trials going on, and sometimes that's part of the trial, so it's in the news again. And as we know, with representation, you do it, you're just a criminal who was dodgy. Someone else does it, they had these mental health issues and blah blah.
Ah,
But you get
no,
what I
don't.
mean. So we won't necessarily go down that road. And I think it's important for us to also just point out for people, once again, this is a lot of what we're saying right now is based on our own experiences and what we know. It's not the absolute truth. It's our views, our opinions, and it's worked or it's what we've come across. So if it's helpful, by all means, go for it, but don't take it as absolute. You can also do your own research on it. I really love how you also pointed out the fact that it's worth, you have to take control of your story. And there is also a process by which you can be assessed to figure out, because there are many potential conditions and things everyone might have. And if you get to the point where you can get assessed, they can help you. It's just like, say, something like dyslexia or dyspraxia. There's it's not just one or two. There are multiple ways that it could affect you. And only when you get a full assessment, you mentioned it being an hour, only then can you truly get the, shall we say, the information, the proper treatment to some extent, because up until then, you're not too certain what you're experiencing. One thing I do want to first find out before I ask you another question: what were you kicked out of university for? Or how did that come about? I don't think you sort of.
You want me in trouble?
I just want to know. Or
Oh my
if
God.
it's one for off air, that's fine. But I was quite curious. I was like, well, he didn't say yet.
No, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
The partying, the gambling, it got too much. You understand? So, you know, I left, got kicked out, whatever. Like, so I think what happened was they wanted me to repeat second year.
Okay.
And I was like, nah, bun that. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it. And then I left because I didn't understand why I should repeat second year. I said, nah, I'm leaving. Yeah, I just messed about, man. I just messed about. I had too much fun, girls, partying, gambling. Um, and it's quite interesting because all of that thing happened before I knew about depression, you know? I was doing all of that stuff anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when I was feeling low, I had to keep doing it. So that's how it went, man.
And probably do more of it, I suspect, to raise yourself back up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, no, that's fair, because I think that's also important to note, because for everybody, whatever's happening, especially with the pandemic and everything, what you had planned might have shifted. And it's that reminder of, it can just take a year or two and your trajectory can change. You can get back on track and you can do things even more amazing and more fulfilling than what you thought before. So the story of your story could have ended with that. I was kicked out at second year and I dropped out of uni and I just kept drinking and all this stuff and maybe had health issues. But you took control of your story. You chose to keep working on yourself, to keep seeking things that could help you. And now you've gone into another career that you find very fulfilling, and it's pushed you on to become a mental health advocate to try and help other people. So it just shows to other people as well, you don't know what is going to happen in your life. And you just have to keep going, because something will come of it, and keep seeking, keep asking. Could I ask you, I know a lot of this has been focused on the label, shall we say, of depression. What other labels would you like people to know about you? I want to make sure we get that side of it, because you're still a bubbly person. You're still happy. I won't go into the girls, but you, what would you know, I think, because you've expressed so much variety in just what you already do and what you're into. So I don't want everyone to say, listen to this and just think of you and think of depression. So I want to know, for you, what are some of the other important labels, like big brother to four siblings? What are some of the important labels for you that make up who you are?
Um, Idris Elba's doppelganger. And what else would I say? I don't even. Nah, I'm joking. I'm joking, bro. Do you know what? Yeah, obviously, I'm eldest of five. From Ghana, West London. Obviously West London. What else would I say? So you know what? I know depression. Do you know why I talk about depression more? Because obviously it's the one I've had longest, and the society can kind of relate to it more. But the one that I want to push more is when I started experiencing anxiety. Um, I'm not good. I don't think I'll have time to do it here, but anxiety and PTSD. So those were more scary to me than the depression. I'm not scared of depression, but those two scared me. I can't lie to you guys. It really scared me because panic attacks. I mean, even as we've been talking, right? I might come across as calm. I am kind of calm, but there's been times where I can see my breathing, and I think, don't do it, don't do it. Do you know what I mean? Don't do it, because I would hate to have a panic attack in front of you guys. I'm sure it'll get edited, but it's embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's embarrassing. I had a panic attack one time when I was driving, um, and yeah, and I did a post about anxiety on my page, and while I was trying to look out for anxiety, I found very little statistics for men, like literally barely any. And yeah, it was really, and that's black men. What is anxiety? You know what I mean? Black man anxious, and you don't fit the the thing of being the strong man, the strong black man. Like, nobody want their husband to be anxious, but I get panic attacks. I'm not ashamed of it. I just don't want you to see it. Do you know what I mean? I can talk about it. I don't want you to see it. And there's times where, but that's the main thing, panic attacks. And I get anxious sometimes when I'm gonna do something big, I suppose. I don't know. Like, I'm moving houses. Um, I'm kind of anxious about it, but there's normal anxiety, and then there's anxiety that prevents you from doing what you need to do. So there's that, and then PTSD. PTSD. I don't want to talk about this too much because I'm respectful to certain people that are involved in this. So I'm a mental health nurse, and I had an unfortunate incident when I was working. One of my clients ended their life, and basically I just threw myself into work. I didn't deal with it. Then I had to go to court, and there was a lot of people doubting me. You know, the person died because of you. You know, because you were young, all sorts of things. And I just threw myself into work, dived into work, went to court, and everything was good. Do you know what I mean? But after the court case and 10 months of scrutiny, I started getting flashbacks in my sleep, you know, nightmares, flashbacks. I couldn't go to certain areas. There's an area in London where anytime I'd go, I'd get panic attacks, and then I'll see the client's face, and then I just start crying. Or I start acting out, like screaming into a pillow. I start doing stuff, and PTSD is more visible than depression. You know what I mean? Because when you talk about it, it makes more sense. And I was scared. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was scared because when you get a flashback and the person ended his life and you just see his face, like as I'm talking to you, I can see his face, but I'm calm. I'm okay. But I can see his face, and I can tell you guys that I see his face, but I've got a mission. I'm doing a podcast. But there's times where I see his face and I can't do that thing. I'm very focused. I'm doing a podcast with you guys, so I haven't got time to address his face that I see. But when I'm sometimes depressed, like his anniversary, I had a really bad time. And I start acting out in certain ways, and then that impacts my suicidality. Sorry, trigger warning, because I don't want to live with flashbacks. I don't want that. I want to be able to go to an area and not think about this guy. I want to be able to go on a date with a girl and not be restricted to the areas I want to live because I can't get this man out of my brain. But I don't want to say too much because I don't know, maybe his family will see it, and I don't want it to be about me because they're obviously suffering. But it affected me in ways that I never imagined it could, because they said it's traumatic anyway, but flashbacks, panic attacks when you go to certain areas, nightmares, tremors, sweat. That was scary, guys. I can't lie. Like, you see, my whole demeanor's changed because it's tough. Talking about the PTSD, I find most triggering. The depression, I'm used to it, but the PTSD, I just came out of therapy in October 2020 for that. And yeah, it's tough, man. It's very tough to talk about, but I'm finding strength in talking to you guys and talking about it on my platform. And I'm gonna do a talk about it soon on my platform, but I've been bracing myself because it's a big topic to talk about. I think when you think PTSD, you think about army guys, right? So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Also, so those are the mental health conditions I've lived with and been treated for, and they're the main things I talk about on my Instagram page. But to end it on a positive note, like I said, I'm a mental health nurse. I do a bit of teaching as well, a bit of MCing as well. So anybody getting married, you know, I'll come and talk there, you know. No, I'm joking. I don't do that no more. But yeah, and also football. I love football. I support Arsenal. We even won. You know what I mean? We won recently. So yeah, man. I try to keep it on positive note, end that bit on a positive note because it is hard. I don't want people to think like I'm too sad, but it's hard. I can't lie to you. Mental health journey is tough, and I've said it before. When you through anxiety and PTSD, I now became visible. Do you know what I mean? You see how I spoke there with passion? If I'm speaking to a GP, you have to listen to me, innit? You actually have to listen to me because the way I'm talking, you have to listen to me because, like, you lot will tell me, but I can tell my picture's gone higher, my heart rate is pumping. Do you know what I mean? Because it's very emotive for me. You know what I mean? Very emotional for me. And I wish I never went through it, if I'm being honest. But now on the other side, kind of, the anxiety is still there, PTSD is kind of there. I'm happy that it's made me a better nurse, but if I'm being honest, I would rather I'd never have a flashback. I'd rather I never have a panic attack. Like, but for whatever reason, I get them. I don't know why I get panic attacks sometimes, but I just get them. But I'm not a weak man for that. I don't like the word strong man, but I'm not a weak person, you know? I'm just a regular dude who can do regular things. When it's time to have a family, I have my family, I have my kids, whatever. And just because I have these things and these labels, um, doesn't mean that I can't do those things. But yeah. Um, what do you guys think?
First and foremost, I think I just want to express appreciation to you for sharing that. And I mean, absolute agreement. It does not make you weak, and sharing something that is a challenge in no way makes you weak. Sharing that you get panic attacks at certain places does not make you weak. I think the strength you show, and I know you don't want to label yourself as strong, but the strength you show in sharing that will give a lot of other people strength to share what experiences they had. As you said, most of us will think about people in the military, perhaps when we think about post-traumatic stress. And when we think about the traumas everybody experiences in their life, everyone has a sort of story. So I think that you've done very well. I personally am very proud of you, although we've only recently met. From what I'm learning about you and your experience, your life, how you're carrying yourself, your energy, your demeanor, your attitude, I'm very proud of you, bro. And I'm really grateful, in fact, that you consider us part of a network you can lean on, even though like we're new, because part of this is about the journey of life. We've connected now, and moving forward, you've always got some brothers who you can get real with, you know, and that's what I want to say on that so far.
And, just to echo what Shai Mendes said, um, I am really moved and glad that you connected with us. You gave us the ability to not just connect with you, to get to know you, how you are an advocate, giving us the opportunity to see how courageous you are as a Black man, as an advocate, showing us your vulnerability. And, it's incredible, incredible. And, just, I know everybody has, different ways of dealing with so many different things that we just don't hear of. And hearing your journey, there's a lot of people I can also relate in different ways that it moves my heart. Seriously, bro. I'm really honored, and at the end of the day, this is just page one of our journey of what we're going to do, what we're going to be, and in terms of helping each other's minds, you know, because we're in it together. We're here to raise our voices, stand as black men, and you know, show what mental health really means. And that's why we're here. We're connected because, you know, just again, you know, how courageous you are, and just seeing how you're growing through what you're going through, if that makes sense, is truly, truly inspiring and amazing, and cannot commend you enough. And you know, it gives me more strength, seriously, hearing and speaking to people that I can resonate with. You know, I look at you, I see me. I look at you, I see Sharmenda. I see you, I see everybody else that we're connecting with. So, you know, I take my hat off to you, bro.
Yeah, I think as we sort of
Yeah,
transition.
you know.
Sorry, pardon me.
Yeah.
Go
No,
ahead.
go for it. Go
No,
for
no,
it.
no. Please, please.
Do you know why I think a lot of us don't talk? Because I'm so used to being a joker. So I don't like getting emotional like that. Do you know what I mean? But I can't do it without, that's me, you know, that's my story. Um, but I'd rather have a joke, do you know what I mean?
Hey,
But life isn't like that, you know?
mm,
100%. I mean, I
Go for
think,
it.
yeah, you've shown
yeah.
obviously that we have all of these things. Over to you, Ray.
No, I was just gonna say that, you know, I understand what you're saying, because I've also been in the same kind of, you know, similar limelight where you have your friends to, you know, have jokes with, but when it comes to the real things that you're going through in life, and I've said this in previous podcasts, it's like the same friends you bust joke with, you go out with, you know, you don't have that kind of outlay to connect with them and help each other through those struggles, because, you know, that's what you really truly need, you know, at times when you're going through, you know, your weakness, to help you again grow through what you're going through. Because let's be honest, Rome wasn't built overnight, and you know, you need advocates, allies to help and support you. So that's one thing. And, and like you said, you know, the friends that you had previously, they're not there for a reason, because they're not there to help and support you. And that's, you know, the same for me as well.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think ultimately that's right. If people are worried or concerned that if I share what I'm going through with certain people, they will not, they'll leave me type thing. It's worth considering that if you do go through some hardships, they will leave then. And it's better to test now and find out if they're truly there for you. Because if they're not, you need to find a new group, pretty much. That would be my advice, because yeah, then you've got people who can really support you. On that note, firstly, I want to ask you a little one. What, in terms of support or encouragement, is there anything someone has ever said to you that really stood out or picked you up? Like a moment where someone said something and, perked you up or got you out of a little slump?
Oh, um, trying to think. Mainly stuff my dad says. My dad is a wise guy, a funny guy. What does he say to me? Let me think. What does he say to me? He just says a whole heap of African proverbs. You know what I mean? Like, do you know what? I'll come back to that one because I can't think of anything at the moment. Like, but yeah. If you ask me the next question, I'll probably come back and think, because you know why? There's a whole heap of advice that you can get. But I can't think of one right now. I'm being honest.
All right, I've got a question. What's the best thing about being black?
Whoa. I think black culture's cool and everybody likes black culture, innit? So I love my melanin. People like me. That's the cool things, but unfortunately, the cool things don't matter in the wider society. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I just love the melanin. I love being dark skin and whatnot. Yeah, I just like being black. You know what I mean?
Fab.
Nice.
Go on, Shay.
And I think part of that, I see the gorgeous blackness coming through. I see the beard
Ah,
game is strong. I'm
ah.
wondering who taught you how to shave, man? How you get it all like this?
Well, genetics, isn't it?
Like when you were young, did you get taught how to shave?
Me? Fuck. Well, yeah. You learn yourself. I learned on my own. But
What did you use?
do
A
you know what
razor
it is?
blade?
Yeah? Let me tell you something. Do you know why most black men have beards? It's not even because of style. It's razor bumps. You know what I mean? It's not style.
Hit the nail on the head there. Hit the nail on the head. Okay, I'm gonna throw a curveball. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Start a chat called MenTalk Ubuntu. That's what I do. Then I'll be rich. You know what? Talk more. And I feel like I missed out on years with my parents, because there was a period where I wasn't talking to my family. And there was a period of time where I wasn't talking to any of my friends. Recently I came back on Instagram after 6 years out. So because of my depression, I just went ghost. Nobody's heard from me for years. And that's why I would tell my younger self, talk, connect with people more, because you got a voice, but you just hid away. So yeah, that's what I would tell myself.
I want to ask a final question. What do you wish more men, talked about?
Just how they're feeling. Simple. Just talk about how you're feeling. I know that's hard, especially with some of our women. It can be hard, but just talk about how you're feeling. That's what I would say. Brothers, talk about how you're feeling. I'm going to say it again. Brothers, talk about how you're feeling.
One
It
more
will
time.
help. It will help. Brothers, talk to people about how you're feeling. That's it.
Powerful, man. I feel like this is one of those moments where you look at someone and you go, you got a purpose to you, man. Like you've got something there's a mission in you that you're working towards. I don't think it's there yet. I feel like you're scratching the surface, but speaking to you, it feels like you're definitely someone who's here to impact other lives. Uh, it's, yeah, it's just been exquisite speaking, man. We've talked about such heavy things, and yet I feel light. You know what I mean? Like you address some of these things with such a humorous approach and a positive approach. It's great. And this is one of the great things that we wish to showcase to people who watch our content or interact with us or come to our events. It's this idea of when you look at men and Black men as well, more specifically, because of how underrepresented we are overall, there are positive examples. There are different ways you should look at us. You know, we're all human. But you're a great example of a positive perception people should have towards men and Black men especially. And
Look at the flowers you're giving me. Chai.
hey, man, I said we give the flowers while you living, baby. We
Tell you are the flower, you know.
we say it like it is. We say it like it is.
Ah! You say I'm the flower.
You are the
That's
flower.
it. That's it. You know, you guys, you're like me, man. I'm coming to Manchester. I'm coming Manchester, you know.
Definitely come through. I mean, and it'll be really good to even, you know, have you come on our, you know, events where we, you know, as men go out in the outdoor and just exchange minds, you know, connect with each other.
100. I'm on that, you know.
We'll get on that because now,
You know, I feel like also I'll be popular in Manchester as well, you know.
Don't come here and terrorize my city.
Amazing. So, and finally, if anyone would like to plug into you, find you, you know, let them know where you know, where can they find you?
All right. So on Instagram, it's mymentalhealth_UK. So it's the My Mental Health page. I think on Clubhouse, it's Denzel OB. And on Twitter, I believe it's Denzel1992. Yeah, I believe that's it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure you will put it in the bio because obviously you lot like me, you know. You want people to connect with me, obviously. But yeah, My Mental Health UK is something that I really want to push, and I just want people to talk about their mental health. Obviously, I'm a Black man, so I would love Black people to rise up together, but it's all inclusive, really. And you know, this is what we need to do, I feel. So talks like this with you guys is what we need to do. Things are changing because I don't know if you guys would have done this 3 or 4 years ago. I definitely wouldn't have. So things are changing, you know.
Things are changing indeed. So please do connect with Denzel. Catch him on Clubhouse. Get involved with the conversation. If you interact with mymentalhealth_UK, you can share your stories anonymously. Obviously, we've chosen to put our faces and names out there. You don't have to, but this might be where you begin to express some of the things you're going through and learn how to articulate your journey better and take ownership of your mental health story. We hope this episode has been valuable. It's been extremely refreshing, I guess, for us. As always, it's been an open, honest conversation. We appreciate Denzel. We appreciate you listening. And we look forward to sharing more valuable content.
Thanks very much. We appreciate you and everything you shared with us. And like I said before, just, you know, connecting with you is an absolute pleasure. And yeah, friends for life, brothers for life. There you go. MenTalk, Ubuntu. Yeah, welcome to, you know, the
welcome
MenTalk.
To the tribe, baby.
That's it.
Yeah, I hear that. Nah, I'm buzzing, man. Honestly, I'm buzzing, you know. Buzzing because I've been looking for guys like you like all my life, because I always knew that there has to be people who are interested in these things. So I'm just grateful. Thank you, guys.
Did we just get some flowers, Ray?
I think we've been getting flowers all through this podcast.
All love.
Bless up.
Hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed creating.
Don't forget to follow, like, share, and connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Subscribe to our latest episode and listen to any you missed. And tune in next episode.
Take care.